Hey, my super beautiful, lovely, gorgeous souls. It's Lizzie the Lightworker here with Rainbow Moon Readings. Bringing you guys a twin flame reading for Libra and Cancer. And I'm doing these now genderless because there's so many of you requesting in so many combinations. And a lot of you say that they resonate in reverse at times. So when that happens, just know that if you think just because you're a female doesn't mean that you're a divine female. It could be that you're the divine male counterpart of the twin flame union and vice versa. And whatever resonates, keep. Whatever doesn't, toss. So let's get right into this. And we're going to just call them Divine Libra, Divine Cancer. I am also going to leave a link in the description box for a twin flame separation support group that I started on Facebook. And it's a great place. It's a growing group. It's private. It's nice to share and talk to others. And, you know, just get some insights from people who might be going through similar issues. Okay, so Libra, let's get on with this. Our Libra, our divine Libra, this is going to be for separation, okay? Majority of these videos are separation videos because so many of you are in separation. So in separation, what is our divine Libra working on or thinking about or focusing on? So I feel like they were doing a little bit of self-focus. I feel like they're trying to make themselves happy, but they just can't seem to do that. I feel like there's a well balance of emotions here during separation. It could have been that maybe before they were not as well balanced. Libra was not as well balanced as they could be, and they could have seemed maybe a little bit even emotionally rigid. And I feel like they have worked on that quite a bit. I also feel like they have a good outlook on life. I feel like up until they met their twin, they were happy-go-lucky. They had a really good outlook on life. Very, very positive person. I feel like they love children and they love family, and they're all about, you know, sort of protecting their family and building. So they'll have a future and they'll have someone to share that with. That's like the ultimate goal. So yeah, I feel like during separation and in separation, Libra is really doing this self-focus thing, but they're having a hard time sort of deciding the next move in life. I feel like they're very confused, and I feel like they're very, I don't know, sort of like they're losing like their moxie here, because I feel like with this Four of Cups, it's sort of saying that there was a change in attitude that was needed, and this separation between Libra and Cancer divines had to happen so Libra could open up to accept the fact that change is necessary, and that there were some things possibly from Cancer that sort of transmuted into Libra's energy of wanting to be more about acceptance. Okay, there was some things in the union that Libra was not accepting. There were some things in this union that, you know, Libra was sort of like a little bit apathetic about or bored. Okay, so I feel like, you know, these things needed to happen so Libra could open up a bit more and realize, you know, because this is sort of like being like almost like a debatable person, and like sort of like, you know, I don't know, not wanting to accept what someone's offering you. So I feel like maybe this divine union, it could have been that Cancer, you know, had offered more of a long-term thing to Libra, and maybe Libra thought they were ready, but they were not. And they had to go into separation to sort of realize that. I also don't know, I'm picking up on child energy. Now I'm just throwing it out there. If it doesn't resonate, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I feel like a child energy, like, I don't know if Libra was a dad or a mom, single dad or a mom with a child, or that these two had a child together, you know, and I get a little bit of a gist that maybe Libra, you know, needed a little more focus on their self to feel whole or complete before sort of like wanting to be a parent. I'm just throwing it out there. Anyway, let's get into our divine Cancer's energy. We have a lot more to go with this reading. Okay, so I feel like right off the bat, Cancer has had a hell of a whirlwind in their head about all of this. I feel like they were harsh on deciding. They couldn't really decide to end this, to pursue this, to go forward. I feel like they made the final decision was to end it and sort of look beyond the relationship and look beyond the union and look to Cancer's insides, their internal self, okay? I'm getting a very feminine vibe here. This is more of a masculine, okay? So I could say that Libra could be masculine here and Cancer could be feminine here. It could read either way, guys. So yeah, I feel like this is someone that was really very confused and sort of like befuddled by things. I feel like there was like a lot of options on the table for different things in Cancer's life at the time that they were aligned with their twin. And I feel like in separation, they ended something in their life that was maybe not so good for them. Okay, sometimes with this card, it has to do with alcoholism or drugs or drug abuse or mental types of issues that, you know, need to be solved. And I feel like it may have pushed Cancer to get into the rhythm of wanting to solve their personal problems. Okay. I feel like there is a heavy weight of emotions with Cancer. Cancer is 100% emotional driven here. Okay. And each cup, if it's something that they feel like they've worked at or they've built towards, but they weren't able to finish, and they're all sort of swirling around, it's so confusing to try to decide, you know, what is going to be the best for me. So I feel like that was part of Cancer's deal. They had an issue with sort of deciding, okay, to me, this reading feels like these two were both confused about the way each other felt. Libra was confused about how Cancer felt. Cancer was confused about how Libra felt. I feel like they didn't communicate well. It's not like they asked, how do you feel? What's going on? I feel like there was a lot of like shoving shit under the rug and tiptoeing around the daisies with these two. It wasn't like outright like, hey, I love you. I want to be with you. Hey, I'm offering you. I mean, I feel like it lacked the proper emotion, okay? I feel like it lacked the emotion to continue to grow into something bigger, okay? And that could be something that both these two need to work on, is their emotions, their emotional base, you know, of who they really are and what they really want. But I feel like Libra might have felt like they needed to be free because they don't seem as bothered as Cancer. Cancer is a little more bothered by this. It's harder. It's more of a challenge to try to end something. Extremely challenging for a sensitive, warm homebody type Cancer to do. So let's get in the middle now and get a little bit of a bigger picture of their relationship. Okay, so I'm feeling like all of this relationship felt like it was a ton of work. So in separation, it's like you got to put in the work for yourself. But yeah, leading up to the separation, felt like it was a ton of work. I feel like if there's emotions that are not being dealt with, like, or you're not owning your emotions, it's just going to sort of like add to the pile of the burden. So yeah, it feels like this was a lot of work. It feels like there was like sort of like this stamina and like steady. Are we going to make it? No, it's like it was too much of like this uphill battle. To try to sync up their energies the right way when they were both in their own heads. It feels like Libra sort of goes in their own mind to escape a lot of things rather than deal with them head on. And this union made them have to deal with something head on. I feel like their head is their safe place. That's their safe space. But it's also the place where they trap themselves. And I feel like Cancer went over everything in their mind to not have to end this, or try to not end this, or try to come up with different scenarios so they wouldn't have to do the painful thing and walk away or call someone out on their bullshit. They don't like to do that. Too emotional. So yeah, a lot of work, if you can see what I mean, guys. A lot of emotion, a lot of pouring into this heavy duty stuff here, okay? So I feel like, you know, it all came to a completion before the separation because it was so abundant that the emotional things needed to be dealt with, if that makes any sense. So, you know, the work had to complete. Oh my God, I cannot possibly go another step. Boom, I'm dropping all of these emotions everywhere and I don't really care what happens. That's what I feel like happened. There was like a big falter here. Okay, yeah, and I do feel like there was issues with competition. I don't know if there was other people in line to date either of you or want to be with either of you, or you had relationships going on during this union or before it or after it. But I feel like there's a little bit of self-sabotage here as well, okay? I feel like both of you may be, and don't take this the wrong way, immature. When I say immature, I mean not mature enough to have this full force divine union of twin flame, okay? Because it's very serious and it's very, very, it's very hard to grasp the concept of how deep it is. So I feel like there was a little bit of reflecting here back and forth, reflecting each other's sort of negative behaviors. And sort of all those pile up, like just too much, takes too much effort. I feel like that either of you or both of you did not have that oomph, that push, that final, yes, I can do this. So I feel like also there was a little bit of sabotage, like I said before. Sabotage, maybe not playing fair, not fighting fair, sort of having this element to you of like, I need to win all the battles. I'm sensing that could have came a little bit more from Cancer, but it could also be Libra's energy too, because don't forget, guys, you're one soul split. So yeah, the energy of separation, I feel like, is both needing to get over egos and face the ways that you were. Okay, and if you've worked on yourselves, face the ways that you used to be and continue to make progress on yourselves, because this energy is very egotistical, very manipulative, and very like egomaniacal. It's very vicious and vindictive. So there could be some feelings of that residual left here in this union, or shall I say separation. Okay. Yeah. And it's a time to sort of like, here's the thing, guys. Sometimes there has to be no activity at all. It has to pause. It has to stop. It has to sort of like end to start a new chapter or start. It's like, imagine a series of books and one book is over and oh my God, everybody thinks there's not another book's ever going to come out. What am I going to do? I can't leave off like this. The story's not complete. And then boom, that book comes out. Okay. So really this is just telling you there's like a period right now where everything is being processed and it's a time to rest and it's a time to focus on self and it's a time to rejuvenate self and it's a time to face painful things that you may not want to about yourself, your personality, maybe the way you grew up, maybe the way you handle things or the way you argue with a lover or the way you treat them or the way they treat you or the way you process feelings or things. It's a time to look at that. And it's a time to meditate. And it's almost like a time to pray and meditate, where you just allow yourself to feel your feelings and allow yourself to go through the motions day by day, but also continuing that self-work. It's time to sort of like, you know, uplift yourself. Think of this as like a caterpillar going into the cocoon and it comes out a beautiful butterfly. Okay. So if that's where we're leaving off with this sort of union here, it's sort of in that cocoon stage. It's like the caterpillar going into the cocoon. So, you know, I just want to make it clear, guys, time has to sort of pass. All right. And then we can get a new sort of take on everything, and sort of like every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So you can, I don't know, I feel like this wants to say like enjoy your single lives right now. Like if you're single, okay, you may not be, you may be connected with other people during this separation, and that is completely normal. Don't forget, we're supposed to have our soulmates come in, and you know, those relationships are just so important and almost the most important next to twin flame relationships, okay? Because don't forget, guys, we don't always meet our twin. And a lot of us get confused and twisted in this shit we read on, you know, Instagram and social media and Pinterest. That's not always correct, okay? And there is such a thing as a false twin. So if some of this didn't resonate with you, it's very possible that these messages were not meant for you, number one, and it's also possible you could be dealing with a false twin. So don't forget that, guys. So I feel like a new start after a long rest period between the two of these energies. Okay, so the separation needs to continue. I feel like Cancer needs to come out of their shell a bit more than Libra does. And to me, I feel like Cancer may be the one who reaches out to Libra. They have some bitter energies right now they need to work through, but I do feel like that's possible with this Four of Swords card, because that's sort of, like I said, toning it down and turning within. Okay, so let's just pull one of these beautiful psychic tarot for the heart cards, and we're getting change your focus. So the whole thing, we just discussed all this. Each one of you has to change your focus and worry more about you know, dealing with what needs to be cleared up within the two of you, within you as individuals, okay? And start to think a little bit differently about the way relationships are and the way that they play out and what you respect or require. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Lizzie the light worker here.